Hello, I'm Chris London from Landscape Marketers. This is part of a series of videos on Google Business Profile. I've previously covered how to claim your profile and how the business profile is all set up and how it works. In this one, I wanted to go into a bit more detail on what you should do once you've got access to your Google Business Profile, how you should set it up, the information you should put on it, and so on. I'm going to do this on our one rather than on a client one, just in the interests of confidentiality and so on. So all I've done here is to search for our company, and then up has come our Google Business Profile. And on the left here are links to make some edits and changes to it. Google is continually tweaking these, so by the time you watch this video it may have changed a little bit. But generally the two key things are either the Edit Profile button here, or there's Edit Your Business Information down here. So I'm going to click on Edit Profile. And along the top here, we've got several things, and all these links just go to lower down this page. So about your business, the company name. You have to be a little bit careful with the company name not to try and use sort of spam words. For example, let's say you do landscaping, garden design, paving, fencing, and your business is called ABC Landscapers. What you don't want to do is put in ABC Landscapers and then a list of all the services afterwards, because Google is cracking down on that kind of spam where someone's trying to show all their different services under the business name, and they have started to penalize some companies for doing that. So better to try and keep it simple. If your company is ABC Landscaping and Gardening, then put the whole lot in, but don't add on fencing, paving, driveways, etc. afterwards. Most important thing really here, other than the actual contact information and details, is your business category, because this has an impact on how people find you in search results. Now, we're obviously a marketing company, so we've got marketing related categories in there. But for landscaping and gardening ones, there are a number of different categories you can use. You assign one as your primary category, and then you can have multiple secondary ones after that. I've got a list here of the key ones. So these, what we've got here, about 9 categories are the main ones. Landscape designer, architect and gardener, gardener on its own, a couple of tree ones, a couple of paving ones, and a fencing one. These are the main ones we tend to use. So what you would do is pick out the one that was really your primary service and make that your primary category. And then let's say, for example, it's landscape designer, that becomes your primary category. And then you can add on some additional ones for the other services you do. So let's say you're doing tree services, those two can go in. You do paving, you do fencing, you also just do regular gardening. All those bits can go on as well as additional categories. So you end up with a bit of a list here. What you'll notice over time is that Google will take those main categories and suggest other sort of services within them that it thinks you are relevant to when someone is searching. So when you go back into your listing 1 or 2 months later, you'll notice it in red a number of different services below the main categories, and Google's basically saying, are these things, services that you offer, and you go through them and you check them and you accept them or delete any that aren't relevant to you. And it helps Google to build up a picture of what you as a business do, and then make sure that your site is showing for people that are interested in the services that you're offering. If someone's searching for landscape designer in my area, near me, something like that, then Google knows what you do and the area you work in, and can show your details. Next thing down is the description. So I've mentioned this in the previous video, and I'll just show you. It's this block of text down here. You can put 750 characters in there, which is in here about 8 lines. We've not used up the whole one in here, and on the actual screen it takes up about 10 or 11 lines. We recommend that you start out with a sort of a sales message about your company, an overview of what you do in the first part, and then in the second part list all your different services. The reason for that is that when the page is shown, Google only shows about the first, in this width, about the first 3 lines, and then it says more, and clicking on that will show the rest. So people looking at it are only going to read the first couple of lines of it and not go any further. So get your sales message in at the beginning, but Google is going to look at everything. So get all your key services, maybe locations, in lower down. Other bits you can put in here, the date you started, phone number, website, your business location, so your address and your map. There is an option to put in a service area. If you're only working in a certain area, to put that in. We tend to leave that blank for our customers on the basis that if, let's say, you're based in Leeds, for argument's sake, you'll want to get business in Harrogate, in Leeds and Manchester and the surrounding areas, but you're never going to show up in Google results for somebody who's searching in Glasgow. So you don't really need to worry about the service area unless you only cover a specific area. Let's say you only work in Essex and you won't go over the border, then you can put that in as a service area. But otherwise, we find it's better just to put in your address, which brings up the map, and that's good enough. Your office hours can go in there as well. And some of these things are not really relevant to this industry, but when it comes to Christmas time, Google will normally send you an email saying, are you open on the Christmas Day, Boxing Day, etc., and you can say yes or no to that. And there are things down here that are more relevant to specific services, for example, hotels, restaurants. When somebody is visiting your premises, or if you're a shop, some of these things are relevant here, like what amenities you have, toilets, etc. But for landscaping, gardening, tree surgeons, etc., really the information from here upwards is the key part to fill out, and to make sure you get your categories exactly right, because they are very important for being found in local search results. Hopefully that's useful. And in the other videos I've done, I've covered other areas of this, and I'm also going to do another video that goes into how to upload photos and other things such as posts, which can have a real impact on your search ranking, and also how people perceive you when they see your Google listing.